Any plans on an Android Godot course? Potentially. And I'm hesitating here because I don't play mobile games as a rule. I played some Candy Crush just to see what is it about this game that addicts people, and I have some thoughts about that. Um, but I don't play enough mobile games to really get into the teaching of it. But that's not a hard no. Like if there's enough interest, I'll learn.
Mobile games um, are almost a different breed. I've played mobile games that are basically cut down PC games or console games, where things like Fortnite and
Well, I played XCOM on my phone.
yeah, for instance, those games work really well on a touchscreen because it's very tactile. You want to move here, there. And there's a great appeal because of the accessibility, but there's also a lot of hoops to jump through with the Android store or the iOS store. And for instance, with if that question was about PlayStation, I'm not sure about iOS and Android, but there are certain things if you want to release something on a PlayStation, we couldn't teach you that. There's loads of NDAs blocking that sort of instruction. You have to go through Sony in that case to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, and in fact, that was a question that came up in one of the recent Godot surveys going forward. Do you want us to get more support for third-party companies that will do things like um, convert your game for PlayStation and Xbox?
Yes, it can be quite a big undertaking. I play a couple of games on my mobile, but they tend to be tapping games. They're more of a infinite runner, timing based things like that. So, in terms of the scope, the other thing is the hardware. So it's already bad enough, as you probably all know, that the PC has a swathe of hardware out there from can't run 3D all the way up to a new car cost of computer. And mobiles, there's almost a bigger gap, especially on Android. You mentioned Android, so you end up with where do you place your game? Do you want to make sure that it's available to run even on a 4-year-old? I don't know what it would be, a Samsung S7 or 6, or do you want it to be able to scale all the way up to a modern one? And how do you make sure that the user doesn't nerf? Do you put writing code for all of these phones that if it has this spec, you run it specifically at this rate, or do you let the user control that? And if you let the user control that and they get it wrong, they have a bad experience, they leave a negative review. It can be quite complex when you start delving into lower powered devices like mobiles.
Yeah, and then there's the whole thing of like, how much do we want to focus on publishing on that platform? And I know one thing a lot of people want is how to get ads working in games, which is something I just don't do. Right? I've never once tried to get ad working in games, so I'd have to like learn to do that in order to get that kind of game working. That's not to say I don't think ads should be in game. It's just never something I've done.
I personally have taken issue with ads in games. I've bought for my not bought, but yeah, again, I have bought games that have advertised as well, which really narks me. But a free to play game, and obviously there's adverts. It's a 4+ game, so none of the adverts should be not suitable for someone, and the ads they've been served. I've just taken the tablet off the children and gone, nope, you can't play this game anymore. They're like, why not? Well, the age is right, but the adverts, nope. So there is something else to think about. So that game, I actually left a negative review and reported it for showing inappropriate ads for my children. You know, it's a 4+. I've trusted the store to do that appropriately. So you don't want to end up in a position where you're also advertising to someone and you're leaving that to a third party, because if they muck that up, it could cost you your game, essentially.
Daz points out that it took him an hour to walk someone through setting Android in Godot from scratch. It's not as fun as it could be. There's a lot.
You have to custom compile, don't you, for Android, if I'm right?
I don't know. I've never tried. I think there is an Android compiler.
Okay.
I've never used it. Oh, there is an Android export. But it's a thing, right? You have to be interested enough in that field to go through that process well enough to teach it. Teaching one person to do it, walking through it and bug stepping it like Daz did there for an hour is one thing, but making a course where a bunch of people can do that is another.